What is up, everyone? Hello, Hexicans. Hello, Pulse Chain people. If you are not already in our community, you can bypass this video. If you are inside of our community or you, if you're an OG, please pay attention. I'm gonna light the green candle. All right. What has been going on? Well, I need to tell you about today. Today, I was scrolling Twitter and I found Yoon Anderson had tweeted out something about Karim. Karim the Dream, right? This guy who came on to like early Maddie streams while Richard was on there as a guest and had to speak to Richard. And when he did, soon after that, I believe he released information about him having this huge account in HEX. And he would say that he was like acquiring 1 million or 2 million, a round number, and staking it for many years. And he was, so at that point, we understood that he was a great personality, salesman, showmanship, little flamboyant, a black guy with that was very skinny and always wore scarves. Always had the scarf attire. Well, I already knew that he had this big account, and I think he was maybe like on with Wells Only and Maddie both, showing off his big account. It's called the Dream account inside of our community. And they actually showed it they showed a little bit about it during the Highest of Stakes movie. You know, that movie that RG3, Toby won, and Super Hex Win and a few other guys donated large amounts to get a really good producer and to create this very well shot movie. However, it kind of the movie kind of was a little bit of a dud, but it was a great imagination, like forethought on the movie, because like it hit or miss with a lot of people, and at the end of it, it really had it to where like a person put in a lot of money at 25 cents per hex token, and right now we're what is that, like 50 times lower than that? I'm not sure. We're at like half a penny now, or a little bit over half a penny. I'm not saying it's not going to go up. I believe in Hex. I believe that we've got something that's amazing, that it's code that people can believe in and interact with in an honest society. And I think that it can formulate very good habits inside of a human being's lives. And that's the overall message here today with this that I'm about to tell you about. What I'm about to explain has a little bit to do with some of us OGs who haven't gotten much attention. And we're kind of wondering, like, why is it that people overlook us? And also, what is it that these other personalities have that we don't have? Or is it that you just want to, like, in the crypto world, there's just a bunch of people who ride by the seat of their pants, and they just want to understand what is the next big thing. So um, very fly by the moment, type people, ready for explosions only and don't care about tomorrow or a year or multiple years, or maybe they're all just perpetual liars. I don't know. Some of these OGs, like maybe we need to have account attached to each OG's name. So, like, maybe we should dox them in order to understand what it is that they truly believe in. Do their voices add up with their actions? Think about all these OGs that in the Hex community that whenever Pulse Chain was created or being created, then they were maybe hey Red Squirrel, I see you in the comments. And hey Finbear from before. Sorry it took so freaking long. Oh, hey Finbear. Good morning. Bacon and steak. Nice. Um think about all these OGs that whenever Pulse Chain was being talked about and it was starting to boil up and it yet hadn't yet come to fruition, how many of them were taken under the wing of a project because they were good spokesmen? Were those people really uh, in it for the community and the code of Hex, or were they in it just to be a salesman in any place? There's all different types of personalities. There's a wonderful array of them, and I'm very thankful for all of them. And you guys know my psyche. I like to analyze people and to understand exactly. I'm always interested in understanding exactly where I fit inside of a pool of people. So, Kareem the Dream what showed the camera or showed one of the interviewers in the Highest of Stakes movie his account, and he showed it as multi-million dollar account. And at that time, it wasn't at its all-time high, but multiple times he bragged about it whenever it was an all-time high, and it gave some of the rest of us OGs an idea of like we could never get that much hex and that much hex staked. Like we could never get that many shares. And I'm going to call them shares from now on. I'm going to try to just call them shares, not T shares. We need to start doing that. Because people don't understand the T. What does the T stand for? That confuses people. We have shares in Hex from our staked Hex, and those shares earn us Hex every day because we earn a portion of the natural inflation that comes in because everything's based on code. So I will talk about how. Let's see. Let's introduce specimen 1, Karim. Karim Majido. I don't know how to say that, but I believe that in his handle here it says magic. Let's see. He says he has an Einstein quote, and he says he's from Boston here, and he has 9,600 followers. This Einstein quote is: "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." Dun, da, da, da. And because of what happened to him, I want this to be highlighted later on too. Kareem, he's a guy who goes out and like lives the life that a young person in their 20s would want to. I believe that he's in his 30s. We'll find out here in this article very soon. So Kareem, we all understand that he's a nightlife guy. He will stay out and party all night, and he'll go to his hotel at early morning hours. Whenever you hear him talk lately on any of the shows, he'll tell you that he goes out for like a month on vacation and then goes back to his apartment for a month and then back on vacation and then returns back on vacation. So he's always spending money and he's always doing things. And I mean, he is quite the showman. And I forgot to tell you, he's tall also, so he fits into today's perception of what it means to be a successful person. But I saw him as I could have sworn that he said that he was a Tesla salesman at one point on Maddie's stream whenever he was showing off his dream account. And he always talks about it like the dream account, the third person thing, because it's like it's almost like if you could fake an account, then it would be faked. But this is supposedly not a fake account. I actually haven't seen the account. I don't know what he doesn't have it here on his profile. I don't know what the account's address is, but Maddie is backing up what is being said in all of this. So Karim, he was in Miami and he wanted to fly to this Turks and Caicos Islands. So here's Florida here, if you're looking at the screen. And Miami's down at the bottom tip. And then over here, he would jump over the Bahamas and go to this Turks and Caicos Islands. And it seems to be like a sparsely populated islands. There's this over on the west is a heavily populated area. And then over on the east has a town. Where was it? Yeah, a town down here in the south on the eastern part, but the rest of it is pretty much sparsely populated. And so I don't know exactly what his business of going here was. But he communicates with a lot of the OGs in the Hex community who are often dubbed as the OGs. Because I'm an OG, I have to analyze like what is it that people are talking about whenever they get the OGs and the influencers combined, put together in their sentences. And that's why I started out talking about this with talking about influencers, right? I was just listening to Identity Block, the guy who created the Hex militia, a formulation of people to really like fight for Hex, but also to defend Hex and against all the other infiltrators, let's say. And so Identity Block is the leader of the Hex militia, and he's also the guy that often talks about taxes. And he is a Puerto Rican native. And so he kind of has that going for him. You know, like a lot of people in crypto wanted to move down to Puerto Rico from the United States and pay 10%. No, it was a 10,000 entry fee in order to become a citizen of Puerto Rico. And then from then on, you could do something with your taxes. I thought it was like tax free. I don't know. Or gosh, I can't remember. Maybe it's like from then on you would pay 10%. I don't know. Anyway, ID would be like very, very annoyed that I had said so much bad information right now. So back to Karim and his dream account. He flies from Miami to this place and he has a box of bullets. This is the story. He has a box of bullets leaving Miami airport in his luggage. And when you get to this place, which their flag has some representation that it's a British Commonwealth state or something like that. They've got British stuff in their flag. So I think there may be no guns allowed for citizens in this place. And so it's this huge violation of imports. And so they found it in his luggage and arrested him. And now he needs money for bail. And he has just put down $5,000 or something like that for a lawyer. Where did he get the $5,000? He got it from the Dream account. Supposedly, He went and emergency in-staked a 2030 in-stake that he would be, waiting for. So a stake that would have ended in 2030, he went and emergency in-staked it, and it was probably several million hex, and he had to abolish that and sell it and have some fees, whatever, to pay his lawyer. Now he needs some bail money. A lot of the people in the community are saying, why don't you instake the rest of your shit? Destroy that dream account. Everybody else wishes they had such a thing. Hex is an honest system. That's my perspective is Hex is an honest system. And if it is that you live a certain life and you make mistakes and you didn't put money away in places, and I hope I'm not going to be damned for saying this, please God, don't punish me for saying this. You've got tons of money sitting there. Just because it's staked doesn't mean you don't have it. Yeah, it's going to pay out a lot in the future, but you still have it available right now. That's the point of an EES stake. Now, he probably wants to stay away from that because it's those stakes are so far out there that you probably get little to none back on those if you EES those. But who is so irresponsible that they don't work out a hex ladder? You should be having a staking ladder. Like, I have stakes coming out every 6 months. Here in October, I'll probably have one coming out, and then the following April, I'll probably have one coming out, and then onward, because you never know what your life is going to give you. So every time I come to those stakes, I ask myself, what do I need out of this? And how much do I want to restake? And whenever I restake it, I'm going to stake it for 15 years from that spot. So where in 15 years, in the spring or in the fall, I'm going to come up to those things. And it's just a constant ladder. This is what laddering is. Now, this dream account, I would love to examine the dream account because I don't know if he has any sort of a ladder. Because if he's not able to stake, EES every stake for the next 5 years, then I don't know what he's been doing. And also, I also don't know what he's been doing as far as traveling around the entire world, going to all these meetups, having speaker gigs at all these meetups, having grandiose job opportunities of salesmanship in places. I don't know. I don't understand this guy. And then another comment that somebody had was, besides this guy bragging, was, and I've met the guy. I've actually had dinner with him and 3 other guys, and so I empathize with him, but at the same time, this story doesn't exactly make sense. Somebody else said something else, and I just lost it because I was trying to cover up for my trying to not make myself be so hypocritical. Okay, so let's just go to the next thing because I'll get to the comments later on. All right, so this is Yoon Anderson, the guy who tweeted that he had employed Karim for the last little while, and he's building houses, and I think Yoon owns a bar, I think is what Trap Gravity told me back in the day, and that he may be out of Louisiana. Let me see. Yeah, New Orleans. And And this Yoon guy, he's friends with, oh gosh, I had him on this channel. Kef, Hex Kef. He's friends with Hex Kef. And so Yoon and Hex Kef, they get along, bros. So I don't know what Kareem's been up to. And then this is Yoon whenever Richard came to the States. And so Yoon and Richard are in the back of a Tesla on their way to the Fresh and Fit podcast. I don't know whose Tesla it is. It might be Kareem's. I know that Kareem was driving a Tesla whenever I saw him last in Austin, Texas, during one of Maddie's events. So Yoon put this tweet out saying, "Hey, this happened to Kareem." Kareem is later on in the comments saying, "Yes, and this might be the last tweet from me. I have retained the first portion for the lawyer, but I need bail money." A lot of people are saying like, "Hey, quit fleecing our community. Like these people continue to ask for more and more money. What's going on?" Across the spectrum, anybody who communicates with Maddie is, well, that may be an unfair judgment, but I've seen it in person actually, where people suck up to Maddie because they know that Maddie has a way of introducing things to the community and money flowing towards them. I have never been a person that adores nonprofits and fundraising and social type stuff like that. So, like, I've never been a salesman. So I understand that there's a lot of potential behind that sort of thing. But even though it has that sort of thing, I still don't adore it. All right. So, um, like I said, Identity Block did a did a live stream on Twitter earlier. He says that his StreamYard's down, so he hasn't done a YouTube in a while. And he talked about how we need to like hold our horses, and that's a term that we use down here in the South as like, just hold back and see how things pan out, because we don't know if a lot of people have been hacked. We don't know what's going on. Just don't go and throw money at things. We don't know what these influencers are up to. And okay, so here's a tweet from Richard Hart saying that it appears Yoon needs your help, and then he links this little article, which is the son of Turks and Caicos, and they're talking about, I mean, they name Kareem right here. Okay, he's 34 years old. He has a Miami driver's license and a passport from Central Africa Republic. And they just say that he is one of others who have found the same charge. So that's pretty interesting. So Richard says, okay, no, he said that Kareem might need your help, and it appears that Yoon is organizing help for him. Well, Maddie has also risen to the occasion to help him out as well. And then so Maddie does a tweet and quotes Yoon's tweet, saying that Kareem needs help paying to bail him out of a foreign country, and that Maddie donated $500. And if Maddie says that if you can't donate towards it, then if you could just be positive, that would be awesome. So Identity Block also says we need to send our prayers, like we need to be positive towards him. And let me go back to the Richard tweet. Um, so in this in this tweet from Richard, some people they're saying like, "Hey Richard, I don't believe these people. I like you, but I don't like them," sort of thing. And a lot of people are taking offense to Richard tweeting this out. But if you read it and you read it clearly, he says, it appears Karim needs your help. And then he also says, it appears Yoon is organizing help for him. And then he says, look into it, y'all. So he's not saying participate. He's just saying look into it. And this is what it appears as. Some people have thrown blame over at Richard for like, hey, you're trying to protect these OGs. That's an interesting perspective. Once again, I come from the perspective of shit happens in life, and we have to go through a lot of these situations. Like there was a guy, what was the guy's name? Who the story is that he had stuff on his cell phone and then he walked into the lobby of a hotel. He was an old man and he had like one of the biggest accounts that we had, and he got hacked and they emergency instaked everything. That was the story. Behind the scenes, it might have been that it was a family member that didn't know what they were doing, got into his stuff, and destroyed it, and it's all in shambles. I don't know, but this stuff happens. Thank you, Finbear, for giving me the name. Hex 19 was an older gentleman who had a huge account, multi-millions. And that was the story behind him that we were told. And it was featured on one of Maddie's early shows. So we're going through the evolution of what will happen in crypto and what will happen in a crypto that you're supposed to hold for a long period of time. And you're supposed to stay honest to the system to earn interest. And I'm, this is so exciting of a situation. Exciting that can be both good and bad, right? Argument can be both good and bad of a word. This is so exciting of a situation that I had to do a live stream about it right now, get it off my plate. Because what's going on in our community or in Pulse Chain, in cryptocurrencies and everything, we're going through some evolutionary times, and we're having to apply all of human psychology and all of money theory into everything, this new technology so quickly, so fast. And this is just par for the course that this sort of thing happens. The less people with the less T-shares, the better, guys. The less people with the less shares. Like, these things are supposed to happen. And this is why there's another reason, or another thing that comes to mind, is whenever we have a stake that comes to the end, it starts to chip away the system. If you don't instake it on time or do the good accounting feature, your stake will start to be chipped away at with the system, and you'll start to lose percentages because you weren't there interacting with the stake. And in case someone dies and then their stake isn't accessed, then over time, those stakes won't exist anymore. They'll be gone from the system, and we won't have to wonder if Satoshi Nakamoto or whoever, this huge large staker, if they're still alive. Okay. So the but back to the idea of OGs, like what has this person been doing with their crypto? Can they not rummage up some crypto in order to pay some fees? It's a weird situation. So Richard calls it out, and then Richard comments after his own tweet, and he showed this YouTube video. So I went to this YouTube video, and it shows me the headshots of 4 other people, and I guess this is Karim's silhouette that's labeled Michael Lee Evans over here on the right, because that looks like his shaved heads, his pointy ears, his slim physique. But I don't know, and they don't mention Karim at all in this. But multiple people have run up against this same thing by importing ammo. See at the top it says claim mistakenly brought ammo in luggage. Very interesting. I wonder if these people are wealthy people too to take vacations all the way down there, because it's a distant island, right? It's Let's see. Oh, Puerto Rico is actually a further island than that. They're in the Atlantic, not the Caribbean, not the Gulf. Okay. So let's go further on what does Sami say about this? Well, he says that in the movie you showed a wallet with $180 million in it. So why the hell are you asking people for bail money? And then this is pretty funny. Some of these comments start making Karim's name sound like karma. And it would be really funny if, excuse me for saying this, it would be really funny if we started saying like, you got Kareemed, as in like you got karma with your EESs. You had to pull out EESs and you got Kareemed. So yeah, like people commenting on Somi's thing, they're in favor of Karim, just like, don't ask us for money until you EES everything, and then we'll think about it. And then, of course, on the thread with Maddie stuff, everybody's saying, well, hey, Maddie, that token that you released recently and you pulled the liquidity for it or whatever. I'm not exactly sure the story on all that. But why don't you just give him some of that money that you took with it? So a lot of people are saying no thanks, and then a few people are saying yes, and then this one guy down here at the bottom is like, well, I'm going to create a Kareem token. You guys can play around with that. So this is supposedly what his dream account looks like right now, with $887,000 worth on both chains. So it's $653,000 worth of HEX stakes and $232,000 worth of HEX stakes. But remember that if it is that those stakes are not, they haven't reached their 50% fulfillment, then they get eliminated if they're unstaked. You have to reach the 50% marker, I believe. There's a lot of math. It's quick math. There's a lot of math in there. So yeah, you guys tell me, what do you think about this Kareem situation? I would say, like, only if you're a friend of Kareem's to send Kareem money to accounts that you've already sent him money to. But if not, then just ignore the situation and let's see how it pans out. but this is a part of evolution. You know, these people who get the Bitcoin Mount Gox coins back and they sell them. It's a part of Bitcoin, or it's a part of evolution. The people who the person who bought a pizza with Bitcoin back in the day that would be worth $500 million worth. Um, you know, it's evolution. This is how things go. Weird things are going to happen like this, and um, you know, truth is almost stranger than fiction. Like this guy should have had the most wrapped up account. He should have had his finances pristine, right? From our perspective of him. So that brings us to, what the fuck are these people doing in our community if they can't afford shit? If they don't have $100,000 sitting in stable coins, what the fuck are they doing influencing anybody? Huh? I don't know. I don't know. All right. So in the comments, you guys have been blowing it up. Oh yeah, and then also we talked about how Karim was a part of Staker app, and he was a huge influencer inside Staker app, and then sadly Staker app fell apart on the inside, the development work. So it wasn't anything that Karim did. He just joined the wrong team. But I can think of other people like Abit Hex. He went like whenever Pulse Chain was brewing, he went and became a representative, a spokesperson for another community. Um, Trap Gravity would love me to mention Liquid Loans, these people who came in and, um, you know, presented themselves to our community, got so much, gave so little. I know that whenever Liquid Loans came to the table, Hex Ray Vision was a friend of mine, and um, I was, I guess I met him in Vegas, went up to my other friend's place in Montana, and then I was coming back down to rendezvous with Hex Ray Vision and Rogue Herbalist, and I remember Hexray talking about the Liquid Loans guys and like pumping it up in my ear. And I didn't care because I didn't know who these guys were. And I was just like, you know, I'm one of those people that I'll believe it when I see it, sort of stuff. And I'm glad that I'm that type of person, because otherwise you just get fleeced in the community in crypto. I had another influencer to think about. Oh, Walrus. You guys remember Walrus? So he came through with a lot of hype. And he eventually became a spokesperson for um was it Liquid Loans? I think it was. But it was way late in Liquid Loans, and they were sort of like wanting to salvage their reputation. And maybe it was before or after KDP was a part of that stuff. I think she might have been Liquid Loans too. So we gotta figure out who some of these people are, and we also need to understand that there might be some threats to safety as well. Whenever we do this, there might be some organized crime involved in that stuff. Um, and maybe I should be happy that I've never been approached by these sorts of people. But once again, like I said it earlier, most people are here for the landmines. They they just they just want to explode up and get their first amount of money, and they probably haven't thought too much past that. And that's why they don't watch me, because I don't give you grandiose forward projections. Let's see, where are we? So real fast, I looked at where Kareem was from, and it's this Central African Republic here. I don't know if it's the eastern or the western part, but that's it. And then he says in his profile that he resides in Boston. Cool, guys. Let's go back to the comments. Finbear says he'll rewind real quick. He's catching up. Red Squirrel says that yeah, he does that and then he begs, which is really surprising. He had a dream account that we all wish that we had. Finbear says cocaine's a powerful drug. Think he sold solar panels. Yeah, he might have sold solar panels. Yeah, see, Finbear and I are guys that have been watching the streams and adding up. Okay, what are all these people involved in? And so typically we'll be able to remember the path of what people have shown us, but not necessarily do we know anything further than that, or at least that's my story. One of the things that made me so attracted to Trap Gravity was he would get on the phone with people. He would get their phone number and he would start asking them questions to dig a little bit deeper. And then so of course that rhetoric back and forth, you would be able to gain more of a perspective of who a person is, and maybe attachments, pre-existing attachments between community members. So like one of the ideas is that RG3 comes to the scene and he convinces his family members to participate, and then here comes who Trap Gravity thinks is his nephew, Crypto Coffee, comes to the scene. But they don't say that they're family members. They don't say that they know each other. That's just an example. Now, I have booted Trap Gravity out of my life, but and I still haven't gotten down to the bottom of what's been true and what's been false that he claims. I have also not done an overview of Trap and my breakup. I don't like saying this like it's a freaking relationship, but uh, but he once said if he bats 20% out of 100, then he's doing pretty good. But we're talking about people here and their reputations. So you can't just say it's like being at bat. Like that's, if you're wrong about people 80% of the time, that's actually a bad thing. But whatever. Trap, I hope you're doing good. And everybody between me and Trap, I hope you're doing good. Okay, back to the comments. IWTBF says, sorry, Kareem. Do the crime, do the time. Fund yourself, Kareem. He says he should EES more, not ask from the community. I agree. Or don't you have more crypto holdings? What does this say? Oh, thank you. I won't be damned for saying what I said. It's true. He spent it on partying. So while we're spreading rumors about Kareem, I heard that Kareem is the type of guy, and I've seen him out. I've seen him twice now, I think. And so the first time it was like out in Vegas, and it was like a late night party on a rooftop, and they had like their their own little special cabana area, and everybody like was was urged to stay there real late all the way until closing. And then the bouncer guy was, or security guy was, coming through every once in a while saying like, hey guys, it's about time to leave. And then Kareem's just like, I paid for this thing, I'm going to stay my full time. And there was a cigar lit, and because there was a cigar, I left because I hate smelling cigars. But I later heard that Kareem is one of those people that invites a lot of people out and wants people to ante up and cover the cost of all the extravagant things that he orders. So like we're gonna get a place of our own. We're gonna get tons of bottles. We're gonna continue to party. Just one thing after the next every hour. Keep the excitement up, and then I need you to stay here till the very end so that whenever the bill comes, I can say, hey, you've been here the whole time. You need to be a part of this. And hey, that's another thing that I hope I'm not damned about saying. And I've experienced this similar thing whenever I go out with Hexicans that aren't from my area. When I host a meetup in Texas, every Hexican is a very polite person. When there's a meetup of Hexican, I shouldn't even say this. I should just say crypto people, because we don't even know if they're true um, people with the Hexican spirit, let's say. Then they're more like, do you have, like, hey, do you have money for this? Hey, do you have money for that? And so I won't necessarily say that I've been fleeced, but I have given a lot of money here and there. And the biggest thing, while we're talking about people and people not to trust, the biggest thing for me was Agape Hex. Do not allow that guy to come back into our community. I will raise the biggest fit. The reason why is because whenever NASCAR was going on, whenever there was talk about NASCAR, after, like, I adored Motley in the beginning, and that like Wake Up with Hex show I thought was awesome because of the personality mix. And I thought Bearded Viking, well, Markable Thoughts versus Papa B versus Motley, I thought that was a great trade-off of entertainment. And I don't know exactly why it is that Markable and Motley peeled off of that, and this happens. And so I still think Markable is a remarkable person, and I try to follow him on YouTube and see what he's doing. I think Bearded Viking is his new label. He's talented in arts, and he's back to the land mindset and health first. So I really like the guy. And if you didn't know, he has a twin brother, which is pretty interesting. So two big Viking dudes with goatees and man buns. But back to Markable rose the or Motley rose the idea of doing the NASCAR thing and had it to where, like, okay, here's the donation address. I stand behind this idea. Well, whenever it was that the 5555 tour came through Texas, they went to the large cities in Texas, which is Austin, San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. And the first one that they went to, I think, was Houston. So whenever I went down there, I spoke with Agape, and he was doing private interviews in the next room for a future 5555 tour, or a future crypto Starbuck movie type, or like show type thing. They wanted clips for it, and so they would take people off to the side and interview them after the short conference that was happening, the short presentation. So Agape was the film guy, and so Agape asked me, "Hey, have you heard about the NASCAR thing?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I'm thinking about donating to it. And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you can. I've got the hookup. Like, you can donate to, or get in touch with me, and I'll set you up with donating or whatever." So I ended up sending $7,500. Whether that went to NASCAR or not, I don't think it did. Um, I told Agape that, like, I started asking him prior to donating, "Hey, I want something back from this." And I thought to myself, I didn't even say like how much I was going to donate. I just thought to myself, I'll give several $1,000s if it is that I could get a crew suit out of it, like a little, pit, a pit suit, crew suit. I didn't want the driver's suit. I just wanted something, memorabilia, and I wanted to wear it while I'm doing streams. I thought that would be so cool, and I would have like hex colors, stripes with a black suit with hex across my chest. I thought it would be cool, and I wouldn't think that these people would need the suit any later than just using it once while the car was wrapped in hex stuff, and then after that they wouldn't need it. Well, Agape said that he had it handled and everything, and so I sent over a lot of money, and then Agape continued to talk with me as if the suit wasn't yet available because they were going to have another race and then another race, and so I think they had like 3 races total with the hex wrap on the outside of the NASCAR. And eventually, I start bugging Agape Hex like, "Hey, isn't everything over? Don't shouldn't I get, what I asked for?" And he said, "Oh, I'll contact them right now." And then he screenshotted his conversation through text message that he had with the organizer of the NASCAR group, that put on the thing that had the driver and everything. Well, that guy acted in his text message. He acted like he had no idea what Agape was talking about. And I think I had one follow up after that. And then that was it. The line goes cold. Agape erases his Twitter account. And I have no way of getting in touch with Agape. So, Agape Hex, you are no longer allowed to be in this community. And if I see you around, I'm going to raise hell. Okay. Let's go to comments again. Red Squirrel says that Karim got 7 million and lost 8 million. Hex. That's interesting. Finbear says having a ladder is what it's all about. Totally. This wouldn't happen if you had a ladder. You could just in stake the closest stakes to you, and then you would have some liquid stuff, and then you wouldn't have your long investments hindered. Finbear says, funny how being an OG means you're no longer responsible for your mistakes, not even if you can afford it. Everyone chips in to save the whale. Crazy. No, we need things like this to die. We need this to be old news. This is growing pains. See, if it is that it's like the Bank X thing. We need that amount of hex to come on the market and be done with. We need to get past these things. Like these I'm thinking of like the people who've gone through divorces and had to split up their account, or the people who are like just disastrous and they're gamblers, and they're not responsible. We need them out of our system, or at least to become folks that don't have so much of a mogul for us. You got Kareemed. Hey, Markman, just go back to the beginning. I'm sorry, guys, that I went so far on Agape Hex. I realized the time really flew after that. But it's needed to be said because that's my personal story that I can give you all the details about. And receipts, of course. Red Squirrel says, who cares, Kareem or Maddie? Katie was Power City. Thank you, Red Squirrel. That's right. Okay, so Red Monkey's here saying we need to give compassion. He's in big trouble down there. It's no joke. Just ghost it if you don't like it. I understand, Monkey. I understand what you're saying. Kareem can also just call upon his friends in the community as well, instead of making it public as a entire community run. And then so see, Hex Monkey, what we're doing is we're finding out who runs together as well, you know, and who it is that wants attention possibly as well. So like who wants to what do you say? Like who wants to be in the tail feathers? Who wants to be in the wind right behind people? Like if Richard Hart comes to the United States, how many people are going to be clout chasers? That sort of thing. And then how much money has been raised out of our community, and how many people are proposing that we donate to this sort of thing? Now, Hex Monkey is here saying that he probably won't donate. I haven't seen the see, and then I started out this stream talking about how, like, if you're an influencer, let's see you dox your own accounts. Like let's see if you're putting your money where your mouth is. Maybe we don't have to see all of your accounts, but what seriously, what person gets in this situation? What person parades around with such large accounts and then gets into this situation and then asks for money from an outside source? And then, to tell you the truth, I hear Yoon is quite a wealthy person. Like Yoon himself could cover Kareem if they're hanging around together. Yeah, Mark, man, I've been I've been doing things around here, but hey, like last week I had an update, and maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before that, time has been flying. But I'm still involved in the same ways I was before, just a little bit less, and then other people haven't taken the reins of anything. Like we've all been doing our own things, so that's why things are the way they are. But still the same optimism. Finbear can't wait for a party. Can't wait for the parties I was talking about. Good morning, Archie. Finbear is over there in Finland, so he wants to critique me that the Dutch are not Vikings. Well, I thought the Dutch were made of all sorts of people. All right, guys. I guess that's it. And so back to what Identity Block was saying, like we should have compassion. The law has bit down on a person with it's a victimless crime once again. Like we're all fighting for freedom here. And you know my stance in the whole thing with its relation to the whole hex system, which is how we're all related. But you know, maybe we should wait a little while, figure out what's really happening. Let's fuck that account. Like whoever posted, who supposedly knew the dream account's actual address, I'm gonna message them. And that's it. It's been an hour. I'm sure I'll think of something to follow up on once I shut this off. But for now, I'll see you guys later. Stake long and do a fucking ladder. Cheers.